constraining Bone's movement. So in this video, you'll be able to lock movement to a single axis if that's necessary, and you're going to be able to constrain the degree of movement that is possible. So let's hop straight on over into Blender. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is let's work on this bottom bone here. So at the moment when we try and rotate it, obviously we can rotate it manually and limit it to the global Z axis, and that will spin round like that. That's kind of the movement we want to constrain it to. So looking over here at the transform properties on the properties shelf over on the right hand side, if it's not enabled, press N and bring it in, or you can click the little plus up there. So once that's open, we can literally put a padlock against the axis we want to lock. Now this is also available in the bone properties over here. We have a series of transform locks just here, it's just hidden at the moment, and we've got the same padlocks here, so if we turn that on, it turns on here and vice versa. Brilliant, so let's turn on some and see what happens. So we've got the Z axis here, yes, so we'll leave that one unlocked and lock the other two. Let's try rotating it and see what happens. Oh, okay. So that is not locked on what I would think would have been the Z axis. So I'm just going to undo that. Now I'm going to go to the armature and turn on axes under the display options. And if we look at the top of this bone, it doesn't see Z as upwards, it sees Y as upwards. So great, that's a good use of having the axes on because we can see how it's applying. So if in this case we unlock the Y and lock the Z, now let's just try hitting the R key. There we go, it's completely locked, it's not wobbling about the place. Okay guys, a micro challenge for you. So there will be more to this video after this slide. So lock the axis of the lower arm bone. So pause the video now and give that a go. Welcome back. Let's hop back into Blender and just lock the axis of the lower arm bone. Right, let's select this bone here, and we're looking at, but we've got the axes on. It's the X axis that we need to leave open. So let's do Y and Z. Excellent. Now let's try and rotate it. Excellent. It's going round and round and round and round. Excellent. It's not disappearing and wandering about. So now that we've locked the axes on here, what we don't want to do is this one to pass all the way through the base. So we need to constrain the movement of that bone. Oh, and by the way, I just thought this may have been the reason why the mirror modifier was being all crazy. The mirror axis is of course moving away, and when it was a free movement and not a locked movement, it wouldn't be in the center of this line. So that's possibly what was causing that artifact earlier. Right, so let's constrain this movement. So we need to constrain that along its x-axis. Now there is a chain icon over in the properties window for constraints, but fortunately if we click on that it says go to the bone constraint tab, and there's a button there. It's this one over here, so I'll just pull this out a little. So next to what looks like a texture tab, there's the bone constraint, and there's a big long list in these constraints, and we want to limit its rotation. Now something that's very important is getting the right axis, and we know it's the x-axis in this point, so we're going to limit it on x, and with the minimum and maximum as 0, when we try and rotate it nothing will happen, so it's actually now locked in place. Now in general what I would do here is I'd set the minimum as -180 and the maximum as 180 to help you alleviate problems, and now it should spin freely round and round. Well, we need to work out what the minimum would be. Now I've been playing about with this. I'm going to, I think, around -30. So let's just try rotating again. Yes, it locks in place there. It won't go any lower. But what I did notice as I was moving around, I was getting this horrible snapping effect. Now, the reason that is happening basically is because it is using the world space. If I change that to local space, now when I rotate it, it will be much smoother, but these change. So now I think it's at -80 or thereabouts. You can play with figures to your heart's content. And I'm going to set the maximum here. I'm not going to have it go all the way around. I'm going to have it, I think, around 130. Let's just try that and rotate it. goes all the way around here and stops about there. That's absolutely fine. If it goes much further than that, the lamp will start looking a bit silly. Obviously, if you go over the side, it will flip back around the other way and start rotating around again. Okay, brilliant. Okay guys, the second challenge of this lecture is a bit of a bigger one. I'd like you to build the upper arm and create a bone. Make the upper arm a child of that bone, lock it into the appropriate axis, constrain its movement, now it's up to you how much you constrain it by, and remember to name your meshes and bones. Pause the video now and give that a go. Welcome back, let's hop straight on over into Blender. Right, so let's go ahead and create the rest of this basic lamp. I'm going to hop into edit mode, as that's the best place to work on our model. Now, our top bit here, I'm going to simply make it the same width as whatever that is there, or almost that width. So let's place the 3D cursor somewhere around there. I know because we're on the XY, we've created it literally from the center of our model. We can literally go down here, find our 3D cursor, and set the XY positions to 0. And let's just see where that ends up. Nowhere near our model. Great. But actually, the Y position we don't want to be 0, and nor the Z. We just want the X to be 0. So let's just try that again and create X0, and it's bang in the middle. That's close enough for me. And I'm going to create a small cube there. Of course, I don't want to be in edit mode of our armature here, so let's hop out of there. And I'm going to reset our pose in object mode, create ourselves a mesh that's a cube, and I'm just simply going to scale it down quite a bit. Oh, that was remarkable. I've actually made it exactly what I wanted. Right, so I'm going to rotate that. That was far more luck than anything else, by 45. And I'm going to grab this bit here, this face here, and I'm literally just going to move it. And I'm going to lock it to local Y. Yeah, okay, that's good. Let's view that from the side, see how it looks. Actually, I quite like that there. I think that needs to come in just ever so slightly. About there. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that there. So let's hop over to our armature. I'm going to select it in the outliner here, lamp rig. Click on this one here and extrude. I do want that locked. So X-axis, Shift and X. And I don't know if I've placed that in the right place, so I'm going to shift round to the side, doesn't matter which side, zoom in, and again at this point in time I can just adjust it roughly. Okay, let's hop into pose mode and then back into edit mode, pose mode, let's hop into pose mode, click on here, click on our mesh object, which we've not named yet, and I must do that, and our bone, and Control P, and set the parent to the bone. Let's name cube upper, still got caps lock on, I must have hit that earlier, upper arm, and let's also name our bone, or arm 001, nope, it's upper arm I'm afraid, good guess though. Right, so we've got the bone named, scroll down, deform, we need to turn deform off. Have I done that with this one? No I haven't. Oops. Forgot about that earlier, we don't want the mesh deforming. Right, so now we've got that linked in, we just need to constrain its movement. So I believe it'll also be the X-axis, it is, so let's go up here. With this bone selected, only allow it to move around the X-axis. And in the constraints, let's limit rotation, local space, and limit X again. Now let's just grab that and see, that looks like it's 0 position, great. So probably 45 down and 130 up or something. So minimum, I don't know which way this is going to go. So I'm just going to go minus 30 and plus 90 and just see how far it moves. So that's your 90, yep, and that's your 30. Perfect. And of course we can add more detail to all of this later on. I just want to keep it nice and simple to demonstrate armatures. I'm just going to increase that ever so slightly to 120 and try minus 45. 5 there, and just see what it looks like from the side. Okay, let's rotate that. It goes back to there and forward to here. Excellent. So it's not going too far and not pushing through anything else. Excellent. So now we should be able to rotate things around and everything moves all together. Take that one round, perfect, and move this one here, excellent. And of course I'm just going to reset what I've just moved so it goes back to the rest position so we can continue modelling later on. Great, how are you guys getting on? I'd love to see your lamp at the moment. Perhaps you've added a bit more detail than I have in these short sessions we've got. Please share in the discussions and I will see you in the next lecture.